Is it time we do it? Is it time for the club power rankings?
Yeah, my only worry, Shane, is that I think came up on my phone there about a minute ago to say that I had 20% battery left. So we're in a small bit of a race against time, but that'll just focus our minds a little bit more.
Okay, let's get it straight off the bat here. Ballyhale Shamrocks in at number 1, and there's probably no point in even labouring the point. They're absolutely brilliant.
Can't argue with that, and they're still going strong. And look, they're the favourites for the All Ireland and heavy favourites at this stage. It's after them is where it gets really interesting. Is there a place for another Kilkenny team in the power rankings?
Ooh, maybe. I think certainly people in Kilkenny would feel that, like, if the likes of James Stevens got out of there, do you think they could go win an All Ireland? Like, look at their results in Leinster the last few years. Have any of those teams pulled up trees? I mean, with Coola, we beat the Kilkenny teams every time.
Yeah, James Stevens to me would be the only other Kilkenny team that we could potentially put in the top 10. And if they were going to, I just referenced them there that they could be hovering in around 9 or 10. Potentially, depending on what we have there, even though they're not still left in the championship.
Okay, so are you putting Coola in here?
Yeah, so the weekend, they could be gone after the weekend, but I still am of the belief that they could go on a big run in Leinster if they get out of Dublin again. Do I think some of the other Dublin teams will go on the run that Coola will go on? No, I don't. So I definitely would have them in there. Not sure as of the number at the moment. Would I have any other Dublin team in there? Crokes haven't won a county title in 7 years. Nafina haven't won a county title. Lucan.
Ballyboden are gone, obviously.
Yeah, Ballyboden probably would have been the next highest Dublin team up for me, if I'm honest with you. And they obviously were in the Leinster final recently, but don't think I could have them in the top 10 either. So I definitely would have Coola in the mix, as I'm sure you would.
What about St. Mullins? I mean, they've obviously done pretty well, and got to a Leinster final there in recent times in late 2019. But and beat Coola. So obviously, when they've most recently met, they got that win. No Oisin Goff, no Cronin, and no Conor Callahan the same day. He came on late on, but he wasn't able to move. So to me, I would still be having Coola ahead of St. Mullins by dint of winning the couple of county or All Irelands.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. That's where the legacy comes back into it. If we're talking about a Carlow team in the top 10, it's Mount Leinster Rangers. Would not be far off that top 10, and are obviously county champions. This year's county champions, having beaten St. Mullins in that county final.
Yeah, okay, but it's just the performance that Mullins put up against, obviously beating Coola, and then the fact that they did pretty well against Ballyhale. You couldn't just ignore that.
No, you wouldn't ignore it, in fairness. And obviously, I think Marty Kavanagh was only back from injury this year when they were beaten by Mount Leinster in the final. I think Mount Leinster have won back to back since Mullins were in that Leinster final, though, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, then Munster.
Relax now. Wexford. Any Wexford teams that would come into the mix?
No, not in the debate.
Jeez, Aaron Martin's really disappointed for the potential that they have.
And ended up in a relegation playoff. Obviously, Owlers have gone down, so they're no longer in this conversation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm happy with that.
Anyone else? Any Offaly team?
Being honest, no, not in recent years. If it was a couple of years ago, Kilcormac would be in the conversation, definitely. But
Kilcormac got to the final in 2017. If I remember correctly, we beat them 123-19. So I mean, that's not really challenging top 10, is it?
No, and Rhinus have been the team that have been dominating Offaly in recent years. When Rhinus won in 19, they were well beaten by Rathdowney. So can't really have them in the mix there. I tell you what, though, for the neighbours in Laois, like Clough-Ballacolla won the county title well last year and are back in a county final again this year. Be interesting to see how they would go. I wouldn't rule them out of the top 10.
Yeah, but I don't think Laois teams have gotten to a Leinster club final in a long time. I'm actually trying to Google it there now.
Castletown,
2002 against She.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah. We battered Burrs Kilcotton. I know Rathdowney had a good match against St. Mullins a couple of years ago, but yeah, I don't think we could quite put a Laois team. I don't think
got the 4 goals, didn't he, against Boris up in Parnell Park? I think, yeah.
Look, get your comments in. Let us know why a team should go in here, not just who. Definitely need to know why.
There has to be a good bit of reasoning, not just because they're county champions. We kind of need a bit more than that.
Okay, so let's jump into some of the Munster teams now. If we've missed anyone in Leinster, please do let us know. You might mention some of the Westmeath teams, but I'm not sure they've done quite enough to be in the top 10 here. Ballier. No Tony Kelly. That puts them out of conversation for me.
I think so, yeah. To be honest with you, I think so. Like, if they win Clare, they're not going to go on a run in Munster.
No. Kilmallock. I mean, I would have thought Napier would be here, and we would talk about Napier. But this is a Kilmallock team that got to an All-Ireland final 6 years ago. Obviously haven't been back, hadn't won a county title since, but now maybe they're on the road. And like, I interviewed Graham Mulcahy and he was talking about, I asked him, would his brother Jake be back? Would Paddy O'Loughlin be back? He doesn't know, but maybe they come back in and all of a sudden they might go on a real run because Munster's open.
Yeah, but potentially, yeah. They've obviously won a Munster title before as well. I do think conditions will suit them. I wouldn't rule out them out of top 10. Definitely not. Dude, are Napier in the mix here, even though they're gone?
Yeah, well, look, Niall Heffernan made a very fair point here. Napier with a full team and squad are top 5.
Yeah, okay.
I agree with that.
I 100% agree, yeah. It's just, yeah. There's that many, like, Peter Casey's going to be gone for 9 months. Like, I'm taking, like, just if we had the start of next year, Napier still aren't going to be the same beast. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to know. They obviously won Limerick last year. Didn't win a semi-final this year. I think put an asterisk beside Napier.
Yeah, but like, we're going to be putting asterisks everywhere here.
No, I don't think we will. I don't think we will. Like, I'll put it this way. Are we going to have a Cork team in here?
No.
Thank you. That's grand. We're not going to be putting that many asterisks in then. Don't worry. I would put an asterisk beside Napier. If we're looking at Tipperary, what Tipperary things do you think are in the top, potentially in the top 10?
Like, if Borrisley have everyone fit, I think Borrisley can be in there. And like, obviously we're talking about the form of a couple of years ago. That is the most recent Munster and All-Ireland series we've seen. But then again, I'm fancying Kildangan to win this county championship. So can we put both of them in?
Are you fancying Borrisley to win this weekend?
I mean, I've said it. I said that the home team are going to win.
Of course they are. Yeah. I'd put an asterisk beside Borrisley as well. I personally, and I'd say you're the same, I want Kildangan in my top 10.
Yeah, I think I want them in there too.
I think it would have been intriguing to see how they'd gone last year, particularly in summer conditions. I think it would have been fascinating to see how we go.
Slaughtneil are in there.
I think Slaughtneil have to be in there. The thing about the Antrim champions is Dunley are obviously Antrim champions. It's been Cushendall, it's been Lochiel, it's been Dunley, and the last Ulster champions were Slaughtneil. So Slaughtneil get a fit or 3 or 4 positions ahead of any other Ulster team in my view here, and I haven't seen enough from this Dunley team in provincial to have them even in the top 10. I'm not sure. I don't think you can.
I don't think so, no. I mean, Cushendall won it in 2018, but other than that, it's Slaughtneil 3 of the last 4. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think an Antrim team gets in here at the moment.
Shane, my battery is going to go here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my table over here, plug out my headphones, and charge my phone. I'll be back online in 30 seconds.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. This is the ups and downs when you're going with a live broadcast. I'm going to throw out a few more teams and see what people think. First off, Andrew Sullivan says Napier are being hit hard due to Limerick going so well. A fully fit Napier are top 5. Paul Fitz says Kildangan have a load of club hurlers: Billy Seymour, Alan Flynn, Barry Hogan, Paul Flynn, Dan O'Mara, and Joe Gallagher. They're savage club hurlers. They absolutely are. And like, as Michael just said there a minute ago, how would they have done in Munster last year if they had to get through? And then how would they be doing again this year if they had the experience of Munster and they were able to apply it again? And maybe that's a good reason to have Borrisley high up in the pecking order here, because they have that experience, they have that know-how. You're not going to fear going into a Munster club game. You've been there before in Munster with those games. Thomas Gallagher says Slaughtneil, Lochiel and Cushendall top 3. Not sure about placings because Lochiel have won in All-Ireland, but SN have strongest in past years. SN? Not fully Slaughtneil maybe again in past years. So here's the question now. Kildangan are most recent county champions in Tipperary. Where do they go in the pecking order in terms of every team? Most of the teams that we're talking about here ahead of them, Coola, Ballygunner, St. Thomas's and all those, they've already played in those Munster Club Championships and Leinster Club Championships and so on. So I've thrown Slaughtneil in here. Right, so far, this is the 10 we have in no particular order. Shamrocks, Ballyhale, Coola, Ballygunner, St. Thomas's, Mount Leinster Rangers, Kilmallock, Napirsig, Bursley, Killadangan, and Schlockneil.
It's a fair 10, isn't it?
Yeah. Often wonder, does everyone here work? Can't imagine our bosses would be too happy if half the day was spent watching a live YouTube.
Don't mind that. Do what makes you happy in life.
Do you know what? I've kind of changed my opinion on Cork. I think Blackrock are the real deal.
I thought I was surprised when you didn't have them in from the start, to be honest with you. Not that you've been bullish about them, but you definitely think they have the potential, I would think, to go on a bit of a run in Munster. And you're obviously predicting them to win Cork from here on as well.
Yeah. So like Michael O'Halloran, like Cashman in the back line has been impressing me. Robbie Cotter, Alan Connolly is going to be a top player for Cork, I reckon. Yeah, I think there's enough there for us to sort of definitely have them in the conversation. Glen Rovers, not entirely convinced. Like their runs in Munster haven't really impressed me. Immakilly aren't allowed to play in Munster. I don't think I want to put a divisional side in this conversation. Do you?
No, God no. It'd be like putting UCD or UCC in.
Yeah, and outside of St. Thomas's, there's no one in Galway that I'd be...
Not really, no. Mellows are relegated, were they? Capitagan were beaten in a quarter-final last weekend. No, I don't think so. I'm just trying to think, is there anybody else that we're kind of leaving out? I'd have no issue with putting the Napirsig in the top 10, I have to say.
Are we wrong in Dunloy? 3 in a row Antrim champions, but haven't done it in Ulster, so
depends on where you're ranking Schlockneil.
Well, okay, let's do it. So, do you think Ballygunner are number 2 team here, despite not the only relative success? Are they on track to? Would you expect Ballygunner to win an All Ireland or Coola, Thomas's, Kilmallock to win? Who do you think is higher in the pecking order to win an All Ireland this year?
Ballygunner probably are, but I can't give them the number 2 spot.
No,
something won't let me give them the number 2 spot until they go and prove it. Last time I saw them in a provincial game, they were beaten in the 2019 Munster final, having gone in as roaring hot favourites against a Bursley side that had never been out of the province before. That team had never been out of the province before, and they flopped on the big occasion. So yes, they've beaten they've beaten all around them in Waterford and delivered huge performances in county finals. But no, I can't give them 2.
Okay, so are you keeping in your head are Coola number 2 here?
Because I'll put you this way.
My fear is right. All the injuries I've named plus Paul Shudanger are retired, and Colin Crone is not involved, and obviously I'm no longer involved.
Oh, Jerry Mac, I don't know what I'm sure what to say to that, to be honest.
Don't worry, I've slated myself there in that sentence, so you don't even need to.
If Coola win this weekend, I think they end up playing Ballyhale in a Leinster final. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would go with that, even though Nafina would say, well, we beat Coola well last year if they get through.
Oh no, yeah, no problem with that at all. But I do think if they win this weekend, they get to a Leinster final.
So there's a question about Mount Leinster. Can you see them beating any of the 8 quarterfinalists of the Kilkenny Championship? Maybe, but I don't like. Do I go through it here? Do I think Mount Leinster would be Coola? I think it'd be a good game. Ballygunner, I think they give most of these teams a good game, but I'm not sure that Mount Leinster are at the height they were at when they got to the All Ireland final.
The viewer is asking, would they beat any of the 8 Kilkenny quarterfinalists? Yeah, I think they'd beat 4 of them. Probably. They wouldn't beat Ballyhale, I don't think. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd beat the Village.
They beat Tullaroan? Give them a right good game.
Yeah, I think they would beat Tullaroan. Yeah. I think that's a bit disrespectful. No, I think they would. I think they'd beat at least half of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I think O'Loughlin's would beat them.
Then I think O'Loughlin's would have the kind of nous to maybe beat them and the experience to beat them. But just I think potentially might be 5 of the 8.
And O'Loughlin's were in a Leinster final there in 2016-17. They've changed their team around a little bit. Should they be in this conversation?
Oh, I don't think so. If I was going to have another Kilkenny team, I'd be having the Village in on. Yeah, a bit on this year's form, but a lot on last year's form as well, where they should have been the team to take Ballyhale off their perch.
Yeah. So do Kilmallock go higher in the pecking order than the Piercing, first of all? Like fully fit, I think the Piercing are probably number 2 or 3 here.
I think they're number 2 fully fit, yeah.
Yeah. And then look, Nisha says here, Schlockneil probably should have beaten the Piercing a few years ago and ran the Shamrocks very close in the cracker. They've been within a puck of a ball and making a final. So Schlockneil are probably top 5, aren't they?
Oh, they are. I think they are, Shane, to be fair, yeah.
Would you have Thomas's or Schlockneil ahead of each other?
I'd have Schlockneil.
Ahead of Thomas's, yeah. I think Thomas's have kind of flattered to deceive in recent seasons.
My only worry about Schlockneil this year is some of the injuries they picked up towards the tail end of the county final, and that potentially Chrissy McCaig, Shane McGuigan, I think there was one other big injury. My only worry would be that to be missing someone out for the Ulster campaign. But this is ideal cannon fodder for clubs like Dunleigh. Just paste it on the wall. Picture you, picture me, picture the top 10, and no Dunleigh on it.
Would you have would you have Schlockneil ahead of Ballygunner? I'd have Ballygunner ahead of him.
No, I'd have Ballygunner ahead of Schlockneil, I have to say.
SSRI said Westmeath clubs are better than Schlockneil. Tell us why, though. Tell us why.
I don't know how you can justify that, to be honest with you.
Based on what Nisha just said about pushing the Piercing and Shamrocks very close, I think we're very justified in having Schlockneil up towards the very top.
Oh, I think so. That was a belter of a game between them and Ballyhale was that up in Newry, was it, or where was it? Or
it was Newry, yeah.
Newry, yeah. Like, that was
we
an
played
absolute
them in
belter of a
Armagh
game.
also. Now we won them. Yeah, we beat them, I think, well enough that day. But they're still a good team, and obviously that was a learning experience for them too. So at the moment this is the order we have at the moment. Shamrocks, Coola number 2, Ballygunner, Schlockneil, St. Thomas's, Kilmallock. Or do we go on the Piercing, Burrislee, Killadangan, Blackrock?
Okay. I think it would be a travesty if we left the Piercing out of the top 10. But do you have to put the current champions ahead of them?
You probably do, but the Piercing are the ones that have delivered all of those Munster titles, and they still have most of those players involved. I know David Breen isn't there anymore and Shane Dowling isn't there, but when they're 100%, I think they beat Kilmallock most days. Even though Kilmallock beat them on TV, I think, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I'm talking myself around.
Yeah.
Around in circles.
I'd probably still have Kilmallock ahead of them just for the fact that they can actually go and win a Munster, and they have a nice draw. This might contradict now, but I think they're playing Cork in the Munster semi-final. Would they beat Blackrock? I'd say they probably would, just about. So they've a great chance of being in a Munster final, which leaves them in the last 6 in the country.
So, would you put Killadangan ahead of them, even though they experience Killadangan don't?
Yeah, that's a good question. As I said, I thought Killadangan would have went really well last year, and I think if they get out a tip, they could still go well this year. Even though are they down to play Ballygunner in the Munster quarter final? I'm
not entirely sure. I know
they're on the wrong side of the draw anyway. It could be Ballygunner versus the Clare champions with Tip waiting in the semi-final, if my memory serves me correct. But yeah. I think Killadangan will be a tough proposition for anybody, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Tipperary get into a semi-final against the winners of Clare or Waterford in the Munster Club Hurling. So that will give Killadangan or whoever else wins Tipperary that extra shot. Like I'm sure people in Lockmore are saying, what about us? And people in Thurles are saying, what about us? And the same across other counties.
Lockmore are fierce consistent and are actually not far outside of the top 10, but I couldn't put them in. Just based on, when was the most recent county title hurling win?
2013 or 14 they did the double.
Yeah, like you're going back a long way, and I think the one before that then was when they got to the All-Ireland Club semi-final in 2008. So yeah, they're a really consistent side, but don't think you can parachute them in there. I'd have no issue, still want the Pierce to get my 10. I would put Killadangan wouldn't be below 8 for me.
Would they be above Burrs?
Yes. Okay. In my opinion anyway. But I'm probably, Burrs are in the most recent All-Ireland Club final. I think a good bit has happened since then.
No, that's true.
I think a good bit has happened. Killadangan have obviously won their first county title, and you'd say they're on course for their second. Now that could be ripped up after this weekend, but I'd still, I'd have them. I wouldn't have them 8, 9, or 10. I'd have them either 6, 7, or 8.
So SSRI says Westmeath teams have been unlucky in Leinster the past 10 years. Clonkill and Raharney probably should have got to Leinster finals. That's true. Winter conditions make club championship games so hard to call. Sometimes it comes down to team spirit and bloody mindedness, often over above skill and class. So here's the, like, are you with Kula at number 2? I mean, my concern is I just don't, like, it'll take a lot to get to the team to the same level again, considering the players that are currently missing or guys that are no longer, not going to be there for the foreseeable future in terms of like Cronin being away.
I'm probably not happy with them at 2, and I'm probably going to have to go back on what I said before. I'll probably put Ballygunner 2 because, I'm the same as yourself. I don't think Cool are the same beast that they were 2 or 3 years ago. They're still high up, but probably couldn't. Well, I'll put it to you this way: can you have Coola ahead of Ballygunner? And I know this goes against a bit of what I said earlier. Ballygunner are champions. They're definitely going on a provincial run and have been provincial champions recently and were beaten by Ballyhale in a club semi-final by, a score or 2. Coola have to go a long way to get to that position.
And like Schlockneil are already champions, like you said. So Shamrock's most likely going to win, and obviously going for 3 in a row All-Irelands. They're without question number 1. Ballygunner champions, Schlockneil champions, St. Thomas's very close to being champions. Kilmallock probably will be champions. Is it
Kilmallock are champions, yeah.
Sorry, Kilmallock are champions. I think it's only at that stage after that you can put Coola in.
Oh, there, yeah.
Because like the last 2 years, like Coola have obviously won, but there's been a couple of defeats that would have never happened during the All-Ireland run those years. Like getting annihilated by 15 points the first day out against Crokes, losing very heavily against na Fianna last year. So not winning them in the same manner suggests there's a bit away from that All-Ireland team in 2018.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not trying to talk the boys down. I mean, I'm just saying there's a bit to prove before you get back to that.
Yeah, I don't think they dropped from 2 to 7. I've no problem having them in the mix around 4 or 5.
Yeah. So, but like, would you have Ballygunner underneath?
I'd have Ballygunner probably second now. Yeah. Realistically.
Would you have Schlockneil ahead of Coola?
Ish, probably marginally at the moment, just because of where they actually are. And I think there's, as you said, with injuries and change in personnel, Schlockneil haven't changed much. Coola have changed quite a bit. They could still go on, and I still think they have a great chance of getting to an Leinster final, I have to say.
Yeah.
But there's a fair bit to get there.
Yeah, it's just like in recent years, like if you're going out without Oisín Goff, former Dublin player, Mark Schutte, Paul Schutte,
Colm Cronin.
These are all lads who are absolutely key to the All-Ireland and wouldn't be available if they played tomorrow. That's where I think you'd have Ballygunner, Schlockneil, Thomas's and Kilmallock all ahead of Coola just at the moment. But Coola obviously with scope to go back up. But it's just the questions are there. Obviously Ballyhale at number 1.
Okay, just fly through the top 5 again there, the revised top 5.
Yeah, so Shamrocks, Ballyhale, Ballygunner, Schlockneil, St. Thomas's, Kilmallock, Coola at 6.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm happy enough with that.
Kildangan at 7?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I said I don't want them any lower than 8. I think there's massive scope there, I have to say.
Bursley at 8, Napirsig at 8.
Who else are we looking at outside of that?
Blackrock, and we've Mount Leinster here.
I can't have Bursley in the top 10.
Okay.
I can't have Bursley in the top 10 because I don't think they're winning this weekend.
No, that's fine. Like.
There's a gagging order on you. No, listen, I understand that you can't say much on that. I think Kildangan are a decent bit ahead of the rest in tip at the moment.
Yeah, look, I'm happy to go with Kildangan at 7. Do we want Napirsig at 8? Even though like they're gone, they're done for the season, and who knows what if I said about Coola not having players, obviously Shane Dowling and David Breen aren't going to be there, so they're not going to be quite the same next year.
Yeah, I still think they'd have would it be a shock to the system if Napirsig were the 2023 All-Ireland Club champions? No, it wouldn't be. With Mike Casey back, with Peter Casey back, with Jerome Boylan back, with the regular keeper back, Will O'Donoghue, Adrian Breen, David Dempsey. No, that wouldn't be a shock to the system. So I still think they deserve to be in there. They're the only team that will be included in the top 10 that aren't still in the championship, I'd say. But they have the credit in the bank to have done that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Bazzaroni says too many Munster teams, as Kilkenny and Galway teams, have dominated the All-Ireland Club Championship in the 50 years it's been played. But to be fair, Galway teams got straight into an All-Ireland semi-final, which, in hindsight is a bit of a joke. I'm not saying that Portumna, Athenry, etc. wouldn't have won them, but it's a joke that any county team gets straight into a semi-final. Yeah,
and as regards Kilkenny teams dominating, it's really been Ballyhale from what we're judging on at the moment. Like, the Village won one in 04, 05. O'Loughlin's were O'Loughlin's beaten in a final 1 year. Sorry?
Against Clarenbridge 2011?
Clarenbridge, yeah. Greg Ballycallan were beating them on in the early 2000s. But I think we're really looking at the last probably 5 years. Yes, Ballyhale have been really dominant. If you're going to include another Kilkenny team, it will be the Village for me again. But they're out. I see the Piercing potentially winning an All-Ireland next year, even though they're out. Do I see the Village winning an All-Ireland next year? I don't, if I'm honest, and that's a lot to do with Ballyhale maybe. But even without them, I still not even sure if they'd win Leinster if they won Kilkenny. That's no respect to a great club.
Declan O'Keefe, it's next to impossible to do a top 10, never mind taking injuries into account. Are Kilmallock even higher without injuries? Maybe so. But this is the 10 we have at the moment. Let's see. We should finish up now. We've dragged on a nice bit. I'm sure people are enjoying it all the same. But Shamrocks of Ballyhale at number 1. We're both agreed on that. We don't need to go over that again. Ballygunner there in second. Next, you have Schlockneil, St. Thomas's. Should Thomas's be ahead of Schlockneil? By dint of actually winning the county title and getting to a final again most recently. Yeah, I'm having St. Thomas's at 3.
Jeez, they were annihilated in that final, Shane.
I know, but they did get to it.
They did get to it.
Won one.
Yeah, I know. That's 8 years ago.
Okay, so so who has the most top-rated players in the country? Fintan Burke, Davy Burke, Conor Cooney, Shane Cooney versus the proven quality of the Schlockneil players, who are very good, Brendan Rodgers, Christy McKay, etc., Cormac O'Doherty. I think you'd say there's more proven on the St. Thomas's side.
There probably is. The last time you saw them in an All-Ireland semi-final, you'd have to say they flopped as well against Borrisoleigh.
No, they did. But didn't they beat Schlockneil the year before?
They didn't. They beat Cushendall up in Parnell.
Oh, that's Cushendall. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
If the two of them came up against each other, I'd probably be fancying Schlockneil to dog it out, if I'm honest.
But and I'm not saying that wouldn't happen. I just think the Thomases have a little bit more proven.
Yeah, maybe. Well, they probably do have a bit more proven, given the fact that they're the dominant force in a really, really strong county, whereas Schlockneil are getting it probably a lot easier in Derry. But Schlockneil are the reigning Ulster champions, and as I said, they put it up to the team we have number 1. They put it up to them in an All-Ireland semi-final, something Thomas's didn't do, and the Piercing, who would be either 2 or 3 had they not got a load of injuries, they put it up to them in an All-Ireland semi-final too.
Yeah, Thomas Galler says if it's this hard for hurling, can't imagine trying it for football. Well, Cara Finn would be number 1 yet. Well, they didn't win the county title last year, so again, who knows? Right, so I'm going to say let's push Thomas's number 3, and we'll do battle again on it soon because we have to finish this up. Shamrocks 1, Ballygunner 2, Thomas's 3, Schlockneil 4, Kilmallock 5, Coola 6, Killadangan 7, Na Piarsaigh 8, Blackrock 9, Mount Leinster 10.
Yeah, I'm happy with that now. And the Borrisoleigh boys have as much ammunition as you like for this weekend.
One thing I'd say is I think there's a team or two in Tipperary that might beat Mount Leinster. I think Lockmore beat Mount Leinster, and I think Thurles would, and I think Burris would, assuming everyone's fit, of course.
Okay. We might have to argue the toss quickly for number 10 then. Like, do Burris deserve to be in a 10 instead of Mount Leinster in that case? They've obviously won a Leinster. It's obviously a while back now as well. Have they competed in a Leinster final since then?
I don't think so.
Mullins are obviously the most recent Carrow team to compete in the Leinster final and compete really, really well.
Yeah. I think
No, we can't. No, just I know if it only takes a minute, if we can't settle on something, we're not totally happy with. You think a couple of tip teams that beat Mount Leinster, then
and I think the Village would as well.
I wouldn't disagree. I've already said I wouldn't disagree with that earlier on in the show.
Right. Who do I think is more likely to win in All Ireland? James Stephens, Bursley, Lockmore, Thurles. Is there any other team we're missing? No, Bazzaroni, I'm not saying that at all. I think that the Kilkenny team's good. I think James Stephens could. I just don't think that all of the quarterfinalists will be beaten by them.
The thing is, though, is that Mount Leinster are in the provincial race, whereas I don't think after this weekend Barcelona will be.
But so are Rapparees, but we're not putting Rapparees in this conversation.
Yeah, I know, Shane, but Mount Leinster have a lot of credit, way more credit in the bank than Rapparees have. I haven't won one in 20 or 30 years. Like, Mount Leinster are reasonably well proven at provincial level. Okay,
so Lockmore are still in it, like Thurles are still in it, Burris are still in it. God almighty. Go on, you make the final call.
I'm going to go with the Leinster man and the Mountain man. We'll leave Mount Leinster at 10.
Okay, so I'll just bring it up on screen just to clarify so everyone can see. This is just on a text-edited file, so it's not exactly the most glitzy. But Shamrocks of Ballyhale, Ballygunner, St. Thomas's, Schlockneil, Kilmallock, Coola, Killadangan, the Piershig of Limerick, Blackrock, and Mount Leinster Rangers. I see one of the comments there, someone saying they're going to have to go for a lie down. I think we will too after that.
I think so, yeah. My phone, I did well not to go out completely there. I somehow managed to scooch over here towards a charging point.
If you enjoyed this piece of content, please follow us on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, which helps the channel grow. And if you want audio podcasts, go to patreon.com/OurGame.